Hey, what's up, everybody? It is Atandra Vinchelle, the keeper of the Mermaid's Wisdom, your feminine wellness guide and educator here. And I am coming to you this, afternoon now, with a little bit of Mermaid's wisdom. So thank you so much for joining me. If you hop into the room, hop in and say hi. Let me know who you are. If I've never met you before, I'd love to meet you. And if I have met you before, it's always a pleasure to interact with people multiple times. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get right to it. So I had a coaching call this morning with one of my clients, and we got into some discussion about her goals and her purpose and her passion. And she started talking about how, she had watched a couple of the things, watched some teachers and lecturers and guides and other people, and had listened to what they had to say. And so there was this reoccurring thing that your purpose may not necessarily bring you notoriety. You may not be famous. And then she said something to the effect of, I'm starting to realize that, no, I may not be famous, or no, I may not have a lot of followers on Instagram. And maybe my purpose is just something that I do to help people, and that I might not be paid. And so I let her finish. But when I heard the part about not being paid, I checkmarked that in my brain. I cataloged that in my brain, and I was like, you know what? We absolutely have to go back and talk about that. And so when we finished, when she finished talking about that, we had some discussion around some other things. And the last thing that we talked about before I let her off the phone was the law of reciprocity and the way that it tends to be explained, and the parts of that law that are not always explained. And so I want to explain one of the major parts of that law for you. So typically when you hear about the law of reciprocity, it's normally from a mentor or a teacher or a guide or a coach who is reprimanding students, mentees, spiritual sons and daughters, for not reciprocating what their mentor has given them, not reciprocating what their mentor is teaching them. And so you hear about it from that perspective. The other perspective that you hear about it from is this idea of giving without receiving. Like, you have to give with a whole heart, and you have to give and not expect anything back. And what happens is it causes people to think that there is a problem with giving something and expecting something back. And so you have all of these people in personal relationships, in business relationships. It's one of the reasons why I think a lot of women will start nonprofit businesses, because we tend to be nurturers, and a lot of us tend to be bleeding hearts. And so there's this idea that I just want to give of my service, and I just want to give and give and give, and I don't want anything back, and I don't want anything back. Because we think in our minds, we think that the idea of giving and not expecting to receive anything is noble, right? I'm a pious person because I can give of my time, I can give of my resources, and I don't expect anything back. I can give, and I don't expect anything back. Oh, I gave $5 yesterday and I didn't expect anything back. Oh, I gave of my time and my services and I didn't expect anything back. And so we think that is a higher level of giving if you can continuously give of yourself, of your time, of your resources, of your money, without expecting anything back. Here is the problem with that, though. The law of reciprocity also says that if you give without expectation, then what you're saying is that you are okay with giving and not receiving anything back. I'm going to say that again, and then I'm going to say something else and allow you to sit with that. Law of reciprocity also says that if you continue to give without any expectation whatsoever, that you are basically telling the universe that you are okay with giving of your time, of your resources, of your energy, of your money, of your power, of your whatever, and not receiving anything back. So then my question to you is, if you are continuously giving without receiving, or let me take that back. If you are continuously giving without expecting anything back, then why do you get upset when you don't get anything back? What does that mean? Let's talk about business. Everybody who contacts me wants something for free. Nobody really wants to pay me. Everybody always wants me to give of my time. They want me to give of my resources, but they don't want to give anything back. Everybody wants my information, my education, my expertise, but they don't want to get it. They don't give anything back. They don't want to pay me. And so you have to think. You said, okay. Going back to law of attraction, you're asking yourself, okay, what exactly is it that I am doing to attract this thing? And you say, well, I'm fair with everybody. You know, I have a vision board. I journal. I write out all of these things that I want. But then at the same time, you'll turn around and you say that I give without expectation. I give without the expectation to receive. Well, if you give without the expectation to receive, then why do you get upset when you don't receive anything? So what I want to do is have some conversation around reframing what it means, and reframing this idea that it is wrong, or it is a bad thing to give with expectation. Okay? I'll give you an example. If I give a homeless person $5, I'm not necessarily expecting anything from that person. I'm not expecting to receive anything from that person. But one of the things that I always do is that when I give in charity, I say a prayer and I ask for a blessing. You know, whether you, God, Allah, infinite source, infinite wisdom, the divine, the universe, whoever it is, or however it is that you choose to identify that energy, identify that being. I say, dear infinite wisdom, please bless me with that 1,000,000-fold so that I can continue to be a blessing to others. So what does that mean? That means that I gave with an expectation. I just didn't expect anything from the person that I gave to. But I still gave with an expectation, right? If I give somebody a ride from the side of the road, right, because it's raining and they're stuck, and I just feel led to say, okay, hey, where are you going? Let me go ahead and drop you off where you're going. Then I am giving of my time, and I'm giving of my resource, being my vehicle, my gas. And I'm giving that, not expecting anything from the person who is getting the ride. But I go back to infinite source and say, you know, if for whatever reason or another, my children are stranded somewhere and I am unable to get them, you know, put that into the escrow, that somebody will come around who is safe and who's not trying to attack them, who's not trying to do anything to them, and will give them a ride if that's something that they need, if that situation were to ever present itself. And so there's a difference between expecting something from the person or the people who you have given to, and expecting something and expecting nothing at all, right? Just because I don't expect something from the person that I gave to does not mean that I've given without an expectation. Because if you continue to give without expectation, if you continue to give without expecting to receive anything, then you will continue to find yourself in situations where people are wanting things from you without being willing to reciprocate. And so I hope that this is making sense, and I hope that this is something that is very helpful to you. Because I think for a lot of people it's become counterintuitive, because we've gotten this idea in our heads that if I expect something, I'm wrong. If I have a service and I expect you to pay me, then I'm wrong. I've actually had people tell me before, well, if you really wanted to help people, you would do it for free. No, I wouldn't. Because even in the people who pay me, they receive a service, they receive insight, they receive guidance, they receive help from me. Now, granted, there are certain people that I do things for, that I don't charge for certain things. So for example, my mentors, there are certain things that I will not charge my mentors for, right? And the reason for that is because of the guidance that I have received from them. If I provide certain services for them, this is my way of being able to honor them and honor the wisdom and the knowledge that they were so open with me, or that they were so open to give to me, right? There are times where I have done services for free, where I have given people free services. But here's the thing. I may not expect something from the person who I have given that free service to, but I do give with the expectation. And then there are some people who have an issue with expecting from the divine. They have an issue with expecting from infinite source. Oh, well, I don't want you to give me anything. Don't ever give me anything. And my whole question is, why? Why do you have a problem expecting something or wanting to receive something from the infinite source, the infinite wisdom, who has already said to you that I will provide? I've provided everything that you've needed, that you will ever need. And my desire for you is for you to achieve all of your goals and all of your desires. Like, I am working for you. Like, the universe is working for you. The universe is working so that you can have the things that you say that you want. So why would there be a problem with wanting to receive from the infinite source, who has already told me that I want to give you what it is that you want to receive? And so I think we have to be very careful with that, because one of the things that I told her is, okay, the people, and she gave me a list. I won't list any of the names, but she gave me a list of all of the people that she had listened to and that she had watched their videos and this and that and the third. And I say, well, that person is a millionaire. That person is getting paid. That person charges $20,000 to have a 10-minute conversation. That person is being paid. Your pastor is being paid. All of these people are being paid. And they are being paid for the services and the resources that they are using to provide those services to everybody who is paying them. So why would it be okay for them to be paid for what they do, and you have to start a nonprofit organization? Which, by the way, if you go and look at the salaries of many of the CEOs of these nonprofit organizations, they are getting paid as well. So even the CEOs of these nonprofit organizations who you admire are being paid. And we have to be very careful with that as women, because what happens is when you are constantly giving and giving and giving and giving and nothing is being reciprocated, and you're not getting anything back, and you're not getting a thank you, and you're not getting any money, and you're not getting any energy, and you're not getting any time, and you're not getting any appreciation, and you're not getting any reciprocation, then what happens is we become resentful of all of the people who you say you want to serve by giving of your time, energy, and resources so freely. And the problem with that is that you cannot serve from a place of compassion and empathy. You cannot completely serve a person or a people who you have some type of resentment towards. You can't serve the people who you hold in contempt. You can talk about it all day long, and you can sound great, and you can sound powerful, and you can sound like, oh my God, like I am on this spiritual journey, and I have ascended so far beyond my ego. You can talk about that all day long, but if you harbor any resentment towards the population that you are serving, you will always hold something back when you serve them. And so, I was having that conversation with her, and I said, man, I really, and I was receiving so many revelations even as we were having the conversation. And, Spirit said, well, you need to go ahead and share this. You need to share this with your community so that people can understand. There is nothing wrong with expecting to receive from your giving. You may not expect something from the homeless person or from the person who cannot pay you back, but it's okay for you to ask for what you need from the divine. Now, at the same time, let me go ahead and say this, okay? The divine provides for you in so many different ways. So what does this mean? This also means that if you are in front of a person or a people who have the capacity to reciprocate to reciprocate your energy in the form of their energy payment, that it is okay for you to expect them to pay you. So what you can't do, or what you shouldn't do, is say, oh, well, I know that I am sitting in a room full of six-figure earners, but I'm going to go ahead and go to the divine and say, oh, well, please provide for me for my giving. The divine is like, well, you were in a room full of six-figure earners. You were in a room full of people who could have afforded to pay you. Why didn't you just ask them to pay you? Like sometimes we are looking for these crazy miraculous signs, like the divine is going to come down and all of your spirit guides are going to come right down in front of you, and everybody's going to say, this is it. We are giving it to you in this beautiful package, and here is the bow, and it's this color, and it's exactly the way that you thought that it was going to be, when it's like, no, you have a lot of those resources. You have a lot of that's available to you and around you. And so if you are in a room full of people who can afford to pay you, then ask them to pay you. And ask them to pay you what you are asking for. I've worked with a lot of nonprofit organizations, and one of the things that comes up often is, oh, well, we are a nonprofit, so well, I get it. I know that you are a nonprofit, but you're still going to pay me. Now, I may reduce my fee significantly, because I understand your position and I understand where you are, and even that is relative. So I may reduce my fee, but you're going to pay me because you have the capacity to pay me. And so if I continue to give and to give and to give to people who have the capacity to pay me and say, oh, well, you don't have to pay me. Oh, well, you don't have to give me anything. Oh, well, I don't need that. Then I'm basically telling the universe, like, I'm totally okay with giving of everything and not receiving anything. And then you wonder why you don't receive anything. So I hope this was helpful. And if this was helpful, please like, comment, share. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. I think that this is really, really, really important. And this is a lesson that I had to learn. And I think this is a lesson that a lot of people have to learn, especially for women, because we do tend to be bleeding hearts, and we do tend to be nurturers, and we do tend to want to take on the burdens of the world. But understand that, and this is what I told my client. If you had to pay to get it, they need to pay you to get it from you. And whether you paid whatever energy currency you paid in, so you may have paid in the form of dollars, in the form of money, you may have paid in the form of time, you may have paid in the form of whatever energy currency. If you spent any kind of energy to get that information, to be trained in that skill, to receive that knowledge, to be able to understand how to utilize that tool, then it's not a bad thing for you to ask people to pay you to get access to that knowledge. So anyway, I hope this was helpful. I am out of here. Please like, share, like and share this video if you think that this will be helpful for you. Also, do not forget that I moved the date on my MoonTime Consciousness class. It is going to be on July the 15th instead of July the 8th. So July the 15th from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m., which is a Sunday, I am having a MoonTime Consciousness class where I am going to talk about reframing the idea that we have around our MoonTime, around our menstrual cycles, and looking at it from a place of power instead of looking at it from a place of inconvenience, understanding some of the history, understanding some of the energy associated with our MoonTime, as well as having a conversation on the beauty and the power in menstrual hygiene. So if you would like to sign up for that class, do so on my website at www.themermaidswisdom.com. So that's www.themermaidswisdom.com. You can pop your information in there, and you will be on the list to be able to watch that class. Okay, so I love you all. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today, and enjoy that Mermaid's Wisdom. Peace out.